if there was a moderator, moderator might not be the right word, but somebody who took the time to make the space interesting and do things, then people would participate. So the participation kind of went like this. He did something like so-and-so Appreciation Day. And for a week he'd advertise it and ask people to do things. Or, social event where people had to trying to join teams and get involved and sort of try and set up some things, and participation would go up. So I mean, the upside was there was a way to increase sense of community, but it was really tied to somebody or some people keeping tabs on the system. We couldn't get the motivation after at least a couple of years. So it's one of those things where there's some positive things, but the long-term sort of sense was that there wasn't a really strong outcome. And wasn't necessarily the software's fault. I mean, we tried to say, is this the right design for the software? And that was inconclusive. So
software is only less than half of it.
Yeah, software.
We have the same. We have this software here. It's called MMLS.
Yeah.
And I suppose Morales has shown it to you.
He will.
Oh, he will. And the people in the class, we use it per class basis.
Right.
And the people in the class make a huge difference as to how well the discussion is utilized. First of all, the lecturer needs to initiate. Exactly. And I initiate almost every year, but then if that particular class of students has 2 or 3 people who are like, yes, jump in, let's discuss the homework, let's discuss, then it just takes off.
Right.
Then it just steamrolls and snowballs. But if that particular year did not have 2 or 3 people like that, it's just
falls flat.
It's just dead. It's just dead.
Yeah. We found similar things. And,
is Claremont a commuter campus? Or?
It is, pretty much. I mean, there I don't know, how many? It's, okay, the graduate university is pretty much a commuter campus because there are only, I don't know, 100, now we have 180 rooms on campus for students. So most people have to find a way to come in to the campus. And a lot of them are working full-time. We do a lot of part-time PhD programs and things like that. The Claremont colleges, we're part of the Claremont colleges, so there are actually 7 colleges, 5 undergraduate. They're all residential. So the vast majority of students at Claremont are in a residential campus, but at Claremont Graduate University, we're commuters.
Are you in the same physical location?
Yeah, we're contiguous, except for one. There's something called Keck Graduate Institute, which is on the other side of town.
But all your research is with the graduate school? Right?
Yeah.
Okay. So like this CSAT space was
in
grad school?
Grad school, a component of the grad school, right? Okay. So, yeah. And in the undergraduate colleges, I think there is a pretty good sharing of knowledge, and people have that interaction. And there's, because they have dorms and they have, student spaces. We tend not to have that, so yeah. All right, so that was one example. Just switching gears, this dissertation was about looking at and actually building a multimedia player called Multimedia Management and Planning System. And the idea was that we wanted to try and get somebody to build a tool that would allow students to have a better chance to do knowledge sharing at the classroom level. And so the best way I can explain this is think about the way students write papers, and we're talking about graduate students. They tend to cite existing written documents, right? They write quotes, or we hope they put quotes around and cite. We want them to do that. And of course, you could cite 2 or 3 things from the same document. And the first thing you might cite might be on page 60, and the next one might be on page 12, and the next one, right? And you might have sites from half a dozen different documents, or even refer to documents. But you don't really have a multimedia tool that allows you to do that easily. Plus, so we wanted to create something where a student or a group of students could actually create a multimedia document where they could bring in snippets of videos and audios about a particular topic or whatever they wanted to do, and bring those together in whatever way they could, and make that really simple, so they could just grab a minute out of a video and drop it into a list of multimedia that could then be played sequentially, or it could be stopped, it could be tagged, it could be discussed, and so on and so forth. So that's the idea behind multimedia management and planning system. And so Mete did this. He created a prototype, used it in the classroom, and so on and so forth. And it was very successful in terms of the evaluation. Students liked the system. The downside for them was that Mete spent a lot of time doing all the real guts of the system and not a lot of time doing the interface. So it wasn't easy to necessarily drag and drop things or organize. You had to do a lot of work as a student to really make that happen. And his idea was, get a proof of concept. Can I do it? Will it work? Will it work efficiently? So the students evaluated the interface negatively, but they liked the idea. They thought that it would facilitate their learning. I don't have a screenshot because what Mete has done is essentially said, I really think this has commercial value. I want to try and commercialize it. And so he sort of kept it close to the vest. But it was a very valuable project, I think, from our lab. Sonia did something which was, I think, pretty interesting. She took an existing e-portfolio system. Do you use e-portfolios here? Essentially, you probably use something like them. The idea is that each student, and this is typically for undergraduate students or students in a bachelor's degree, they get, when they enter a college that uses e-portfolios, they get a space, and they can put all of their information, all of the things they did in classes, especially in classes that require electronic submission. They can keep it in their space so it isn't like, when the class is over, it kind of gets lost, or it's in some other part of their, they have to keep their own copy. There's an electronic version of all of their documents that is maintained in their space. And so, and one of the most used of these is called KEEP. And I know what KEEP stands for in my head somewhere, but I can't. Maybe it's on the next slide. I can't remember what it stands for. No, it isn't there. But the KEEP toolkit was something developed by Carnegie Mellon University and Stanford University. And it's a pretty interesting system. Essentially, what KEEP itself did at the time this dissertation was done was it sort of managed files. So it had this component over here, but it didn't have the Web 2.0 capabilities. So she took and by the way, KEEP is open source, but it's controlled by this consortium of Carnegie Mellon and Stanford. So you can take their code and you can develop your own version of it, but you can't directly integrate it into KEEP. So this innovation she did is still not directly a part of KEEP itself. They've done some of it, and they actually had discussions with her about integrating what she did, but in the end they decided not to do it for various reasons.